Welcome to Koripai Insights, where we share Koripai success stories from industry leaders and innovators. I'm your host, Jessica, and today we are here at Organize HQ with Chang-Soo Lee, the founder and CEO of Organize. Join us as we dive into his insights on Koripai's innovation, entrepreneurship, and global expansion. Hello, Chang-Soo.
Hi.
Thank you for having us today.
My pleasure.
Can you introduce yourself to our audiences?
Sure. Hi, everyone. My name is Chang-Soo Lee. I'm founder and CEO at Organize. At Organize, we provide enterprise LLM platforms for financial services industry customers and public sector customers. At the moment, we are serving more than 300 enterprise customers in the US, Japan, and South Korea.
With your broad and insightful experiences, you might have some special perspective on high-tech companies like Koripai. And I imagine you see both similarities and differences with Organize and Koripai. Could you tell us how your relationship with Koripai began? How you first heard about Koripai?
Sure. Our main investor is Aeternum Investment in South Korea. I met Brent for the first time in Aeternum SaaS Day. So I was giving a pitch on how to make successful business in Japan. And Brent, he said and he got pretty impressed with my talk. And then he decided to move out to Japan. So in the second SaaS Day, I met him for the first time in person. And he told me, since you're talking, he was so impressed, and he is now actively doing the business expansion in Japan. So that was the first time I met him in person. Then after that, we met just time to time when my business trip to Tokyo and his business trip to Tokyo, when our schedule mixed, and I met him a bunch of times, and then I got to know him and then his company and their business and pretty well. So that's the beginning of the how I get to know him. Yes. So the database access control. So those the connection list and then having a very granular permission controls of the databases, and then UI UX is very clean and sleek, so it's pretty easy to understand and then very secure. So database access control is my interest in the product.
Wow, easy and clean. That's a very, very good compliment. I'm so flattered. Talking about Japan, since you recently moved to your headquarters to Tokyo, you may have some expectations for the impact of that change. From that perspective, how would you see the Koripai Japan's business positioning in the Japanese market?
So I don't really know all the details, but I heard a lot of good things about the Koripai, the business in Japan. And I also met, what was his name? Arinobu-san. Yes, I met Arinobu-san in person as well in Tokyo, and with my the Japan country manager, the Sato-san, and so we met all together. And first of all, I've got a lot of questions from many entrepreneurs in Korea, and then how to do the business in Japan, how to make this step, and what is important in the first step, and then to expand their business into Japan. And my answer, my advice is pretty much the same. I think there are the two different ways. The first one is hire somebody in Korea and who is really good at Japanese and who also can understand Japanese culture. Then train these people to understand your product and your company very well. Then go with them together is the first approach. The second approach is just go to the networking event in Japan. So there are only two ways. If you don't have anyone who can speak Japanese fluently and then who can understand Japanese culture very well, then it will be pretty tough to do the business in Japan. So I just told this many times into the many of the entrepreneurs who actually asked the question, but I didn't really see the entrepreneur who is doing an action that stripped away. So Brent is actually that one. He put Arinobu-san a really great guy. And then, they set up a Japanese office and then making a business there. So I think he's like, time to action and then his execution power. This is amazing.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. Sort of like, hire right person in the right position,
Yeah.
right time.
Right.
So do you think the brand follow your advice quite?
I
well
think
so far?
that's actually his talent.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't say like he followed me because I can speak Japanese, and because I went to Japan as an exchange student and I learned Japanese when I was a lot younger. So like the starting point is a little different, but in his case, like as a CEO of the company, and he also needs to take care of the growth of like their main business in Korea, and they're not able to speak in Japanese, but really wanted to expand into Japan. Then meeting the right person, and then just hiring him as the in proper position. So those like execution power, I think that is in the brand's like talent.
It comes from quite naturally, but also need the quite commitment.
Right, exactly.
That's
Yeah.
true. Yeah, it's a huge story. I can't believe it. It happened so far quickly.
Right.
By the way, you also do the business in worldwide,
Mm-hmm.
right? So probably when you decide to go global market, you benchmark to Salesforce and
Mm-hmm.
took action, and starting with identifying and addressing
Mm-hmm.
market's pain points. It sounds like a quite simple concept, but a tough journey.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right.
Sure.
So from your perspective, how could you see Coripai's competencies
Mm-hmm.
in the global market? What do you expect to have Coripai have?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So like the most important thing is the execution power, not the power of the idea, execution power. So I'm not an expert in security markets, but one clear thing is I love Coripai product, and then I know the management team of the company Coripai, and then again, the power of execution, not really hesitating, and if they decided to just move into it, I think that isn't great. So I really see bright future of like global business outcomes of Coripai, and then because that's all coming from like the power of the execution from the management team.
It sounds like it's clear that innovation and perseverance and a global vision
Yeah.
are at the heart of everything you do.
Right.
That's very impressive. Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, by the way, can you just say some comments to our audiences and brand?
Okay. Yeah, so like doing a startup is a pretty tough job, and there is always issues and challenges, and just as soon as we solve one challenge, one issues, then another levels of the challenge and issues are actually coming. So it is not about things will get peaceful at one point. It never comes that moment. It's like if you're done with the monster of the level 1, and then level 2 monster comes in. If you're done with level 2 monster, then level 3 monster comes in. So it's kind of like never ending in the process. So in terms of, I think the most important thing is in how you can manage your stress, and because it's not the the short term like the sprint, the running. It's more about like never ending marathon. So how to deal with that stress and how to deal with all these with your life with family, and then how to set up the relationship with your team members and with those the very tiring and never-ending in the games. So that is important. So please be strong, and then please manage your stress well, and that is super important.
Thank you so much, Chang, for sharing all the invaluable insights. Wow, that's pretty much. And we look forward to seeing how Coripai continues to make waves in the global market.
Sure. I do believe the Coripai is going to make a great impact in global business.
Wow, thank you so much. Thanks for joining us, and stay tuned for more stories and strategies from Coripai's customers and clients. Until next time, bye for now.